Morning, folks. This morning's soap is brought to us by Third Pass Shaving. Name of this one here is Active Duty, and the scent is a robust leather. Has about 4 ounces of soap in it. Screw top tin lid. That's what it looks like there on the inside, and it's fairly firm in the inside the container here, but it's relatively easy to scrape out and put in a bowl to whip up lather. Got it whipped up here in a wooden bowl. It's got grooves in it. I used a, let's see if I can get turned around here. Got a Hagen brush here that's boar. It's not quite as wet as I usually would whip it up, but it's still on the moist side. The shaver of the day is a RazoRock. This one here is a baby smooth. It comes in different colors. I think there's black, chrome, or silver, and typically the handles will be nice and shiny like this right here, but the caps and base plate will be satin in color. Made out of aluminum. This weighs, I think, about 1.3 ounces. Pretty light. Just really easy to use. Excuse me. The blade of the day is a Wilkinson sword. This will be the second use on this particular blade. It seems to work pretty well in this shaver. This one here, I'd have to say the shaver is it's pretty smooth. It's just like its name. It's relatively easy to use. Even though it's really lightweight, I don't have any problems getting through the whiskers. It's quite surprising. It's offered through Italian Barber. And the last time I looked at it, it was marked down to right at about $30. So it's pretty reasonable. And considering it's made out of aluminum, and it does mention that it's, you know, not perfect, but I didn't see anything wrong with the one that I've got. It's in pretty good shape. I think it was $30 well spent. This is a Preshave by Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. It's unscented, but it is mentholated. And as you can tell, it started out as a full-size puck. There's not much left here, so it's getting harder to hang on to. One of the things I've noticed over time, especially since I started using a Preshave, tinkering with it, see how it works with my shaves. Do I really notice that much of a difference? It's been a while since well, I take that back. I didn't use a Preshave when I was on vacation, but as it goes for noticeable use, typically, most of the time I usually will notice something like this on the post-shave as opposed to during the shave, which is kind of odd, but I just work it in. And of course I leave it on. Depending on where you get your Preshave at and what's the instructions, which I'm thinking about trying a different one, order a different one. Some folks may rinse it off a little bit. I leave mine on. My brush is still shedding a few bristles, but my last one I had like this, it was, how can you say that's typical, not surprising. But there's quite a bit of, I got plenty of lather in the brush. And it's just got a little bit of scritch to it. I mean, it's still got a ways to get broken in, but even, I guess you might say, out of the gate, it's not that, at least to me, it's not that scritchy. To me. I'm kind of used to these kind of brushes, so if you're used to using something pretty soft and haven't used a boar brush before, yeah, you may find it a little scritchy, but for me it's not an issue. I do have a tendency to like boar brushes. Usually they got quite a bit of backbone. Something that I like. Like I said, this shaver's it is pretty smooth. I'm glad I picked this one up. I almost didn't do it. I've looked at it off and on for a while and decided when the price dropped that I'd go ahead and give it a try. It is a pretty nice shaver. It's easy to find the angle. That's not an issue. Even with it being lightweight, it still works its way right through the whiskers. I was just really amazed. The first shave I got with it is just wow. It's quite unexpected. Tony's being pretty good this morning, our German Shepherd. Usually he's over here bumping up against the door and whatnot, wanting in. I think he still wore out from yesterday. Usually when I go out to mow, he'll go out in the backyard with me, and he was out with me, and I was in the heat of the day when I was mowing, and wife and I had noticed that after being out there, he seemed to be a little on the tired side, laying around resting quite a bit, as if he still was hot. Since Tony is mostly black, there's very little brown on him. And being out there in the sun, I'm sure he did get warmed up quite a bit. But he enjoys being out there with me. And our cat, Thor, he enjoys being in my daughter's bedroom. And so he decided he was ready to go in her bedroom, so I popped the door open and let him in. And my daughter let me know that he woke her up, and she was not happy about that. Thor, he's quite a character too. We've had him, my son, even, I guess you might say at a very young age, had got a knack for catching stray cats. And this one here, Thor was just a kitten. I think either mom, something unfortunate happened to mom, I'm pretty sure of that, when he rescued Thor along with Thor's siblings. And we have found, at that point in time, we'd found homes for the other kittens, and we kept Thor. And Thor, like I say, he's quite a character. He'll test a dog. He'll lay there and act real easy going and whatnot, and the next thing you know, he's swatting that one, just giving it a bear hug. He likes to play. He's pretty laid back. I've heard a story of other cats, you know, that cats from hell. You walk by and the cat will attack you, grab a hold of your leg and give you a big bite. He didn't do anything quite like that. He likes just to lay around and wait, like a catfish, wait for the food to come to him. He just lays around. Then he'll give somebody a hard time. He's a pretty good cat. He's complaining. He hears me in here talking. Whoop. They get the door shut all the way. He's getting better about coming up on your shoulders when you hit up here. He'll come up there or that, or whenever he decides he's ready to do such a thing. But he's still a little excited when he does it, so maybe one day here pretty soon we'll get him on camera. I'll have a link down below for this shaver, as well as a third pass shaving soap. And I'll put a link down below also talking a little bit about razor blades and the sharpness. And the thought being on some blades, or most blades, depending on how you want to look at it, I guess. It discusses it in the article and whatnot, as well as how it rates the sharpness of the blades, but it mentions that the second use is usually the better use of the blades. Usually, not always. There's been a few that he tested that was not the case, but in most cases your blade will be sharper on the second use. So I thought here very recently I gave that a little bit more thought and given it a try. In most cases I can get a second use out of most of the blades that I get. There are those few, like he'll mention, that don't do so well. But in this particular case here, this Wilkinson sword has always been a good blade for me. Getting a second use out of it is not an issue. It's kind of like feather. Second, third use, depending on how many uses you can get out of a feather blade, the more you use it, to a degree, the better the shaves will feel. And this one here feels just as good as the first shave. And also this shaver is I wouldn't say it's fairly efficient. Depending on how you conduct your shave and how your growth is. In other words, the typical, in other words, with the grain, across the grain, against the grain pass will get the bulk of my whiskers. What I would consider definitely sociably acceptable, and it will, by the quote-unquote, by the end of the day, I still won't have a shadow. And yesterday I had noticed that my face was still pretty smooth, even going late into the evening. I mean, yeah, I could feel some whiskers, but to look to see if I could see a shadow or anything like that, that wasn't the case. Got the Allen block here from Phoenix Artists and Accoutrements, no rubber band this morning. It is getting smaller, but still, I can still hang on to it. It's getting pretty small. And I've also noticed that the few times I've shaved with this shaver, that I do end up with just minimal stinging. In other words, you get a spot here or a spot there, but not a wholesale type stinging experience with this shaver so far. Pretty impressed with it. Lightweight shaver, sometimes I struggle with the fact that it is lightweight, because I have a tendency to let the weight of the shaver, the sharpness of the blade, do the work. Witch hazel. This is citrus scented Humphreys, but I did add some menthol to it. That's the reason why it looks the color that it does, otherwise it'd be clear. Today's Monday, and been off work for 2 weeks for vacation. I still got quite a bit more vacation I need to use, but first day back to work after being off 2 weeks, not too terribly excited. I could definitely stay off work. Go ahead and retire, would not have a problem. Wouldn't miss it a bit. Feel a little bit. The amount of menthol crystals I added to this wasn't a whole lot. At least as far as I know, it wasn't a whole lot. Just enough cooling effect. It's not overwhelming. Doesn't make my eyes water or anything like that. I guess you might say just perfect, because I'm thinking, at least I can't tell, and my wife hasn't been able to notice that since I've been using the menthol crystals in this witch hazel. Does it affect the aftershave? In other words, given a 15-20 minutes after the shave, can you tell that the menthol is there? And she can't notice it within being, really close. So I don't feel like it affects the shave any. At least it doesn't for me. Thought English leather would be a good one to use this morning, since we're using the robust leather soap. over the 4th of July weekend, Third Pass had a special going on. Actually, I think it's all week. I got a link down below for the website. Might check out the Hero collection. I got that one. That's a pretty cool collection. I really like this. Is good stuff. I did find a place that had a couple of bottles left, so I went ahead and purchased those. Not a whole lot of money either. Was it $8 or $9 a piece, something like that? Inexpensive. So I got 2 more bottles, so I probably won't feel quite so bad using my English leather, because there for a while I thought there was just totally going to disappear and I wasn't going to be able to find it without paying out the nose for it. Smells great this morning. Once again, I don't know if I showed it, probably need to, there we go. It is a satin cap and base plate like I mentioned, and if you're interested in a lightweight shaver, one that's not going to break the bank, I feel like it's well made. Like I say, I don't see anything wrong. In other words, I don't find flaws with it or anything like that. You notice that there's no overhang, so if you shave underneath your nose, you'll probably appreciate the fact that there is no overhang of the blade. It is covered within the cap and base plate. And this is what they're referring to. I don't have a problem with it. I think it looks just fine. But you can kind of tell that where the machining was done, there's the circles going around the post and whatnot. I don't have a problem with that. That looks just fine in my opinion. I don't have an issue with it. Looks great. I think it's a fantastic buy. I tell you what, at $30, and it looks as good as this one does. It cleans up real easy. Just wipes, the soap just wipes right off with a soft cloth, no time at all. If you're interested in something that's easy to use, thinking that this might be right up your alley. It's not so aggressive that I think you're going to risk irritation if you're trying to go for a BBS shave. I think this one here, you could probably achieve it with it. In other words, I could go with a pickup pass. I probably could have done it on the 3rd pass, but I don't really notice. Usually this is the area down here where I notice it the most, but it's pretty efficient, at least my experience with it is. And off camera I'll be using Stirling's beard oil. This one here is Agar. If you haven't seen the video, the first thing that pops in my head with this name is Hagar the Terrible, a cartoon character. But anyway, great shave this morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Great start for the work week, I hope. Until next time, hope everybody is doing well. Stay safe and smooth shaves to you.